Hello, my name is Betsy Wade Futuro. This video will provide an overview of how to work with form templates. A form template is a defined workspace that is customizable by your organization to allow individual incident reports to be created on web forms. A designated user called an architect would be responsible for designing the form workflows on a form template. To create a new form template, select the Templates option in the side menu, then select Manage Item Templates. The Item Template page will provide a template maintenance screen from which an existing template can be modified or a new template can be created. Templates of any type will be displayed to select from. At the top of the screen, use any of the column headers to sort the list. Use any of the filters to narrow down your template's results. To modify a template, simply select the name of the template and you will be brought to the form template details from which modifications can be made. In the context menu, use the Save button to save any changes made to a form, the Delete button to remove a form, or the Deactivate button to archive a form that no longer requires use. A form can later be activated if needed. Use the back icon to return to the previous screen. To create a new form template, select the New button. The screen will default to the Settings tab, for which you will provide basic information about your form. Select the Supported Language button and specify a language. Then select Form Template from the Template Type drop-down. The tabs on the screen will update with the form-specific fields. Give your form a name, and the description field is an optional field. Text entered in this field will be displayed when hovering over the name of a template on the Item Template Maintenance page. Then press the Save button, and more tabs will appear to help you construct the form. To configure the fields on a form template, select the Designer tab, and you will be brought to a design canvas. This is where you design the look of a form when a form template is deployed for use. There are 3 default controls that the application adds to each form template: the Comments control, the Assigned To control, and the Owners control. These controls are hidden by default. The Assigned To and Owners control how forms display on a portal user's dashboard and can be used for workflows. The Comments control can be made visible for form routing purposes only. By default, the Fields tab is displayed to the left of a blank canvas. Select a field or control and drag it to the canvas on the right until grid lines appear. Drop the field or control into a desired location within the grid lines. Once a field is added to the canvas, click on the field and the field properties will be displayed to the left. This allows an architect to name a field or control, indicate if it is required, determine the size of the field or control on the template, and so forth. Depending on the type of field or control, additional options will be available as well. In this scenario, let's change the name of the date field to Incident Date. To add more fields to the canvas, select the Fields tab. Next, we will bring a text field over into the canvas. And again, change the name of the field. For this form, I wish the name of reporter to be a required field, and I also wish to make it a medium size. Next, a lookup list will be added to the form. Select the Fields tab and drag and drop Lookup List into the canvas. When adding a lookup list, you must associate a list by using the Select List button. Then select a list from the drop-down. Section headers can be added as well. Change the text that will display in the header and use the Type drop-down to change the size of the text that displays. The People control can be used to capture the names of people listed in ComplyTrack. This control can also be used to pass the form through hands of multiple people before a form is submitted. In this example, this form will be passed around to multiple witnesses. To enable routing, select the Use for Routing checkbox. It is a good practice to move the comments control beneath the people control when routing is enabled. A panel is used to group a collection of fields together and to give specific users entitlements to those fields. Repeat these steps, dragging and dropping fields onto the design canvas and establishing properties for each field or control. Select the Save icon to save changes. A form resides in the undeployed state until an architect deploys the form on the ComplyTrack portal for use. The title of the form to be displayed can be different than the name used in the item template list. An architect can give the form a name as it should appear when deployed on the portal. The availability of a form based on audience will also be defined in deployment options. To deploy a form, an architect must first select a deployment access option. When selecting unrestricted access, an architect can specify if a form can only be accessed by all authenticated users, or when selecting unrestricted access, a form can be accessed only by all anonymous users. Unrestricted access can be given to both types of users. However, giving anonymous users unrestricted access to forms utilizing the routing process is not recommended. Selecting restricted access will make the form available only to those users that are specified. To do so, select required users or groups by typing the name of the user or group in the restricted access field. Users or groups matching the text entered in the field will display to pick from. Or use the pick list icon to select specific users or groups. Press the Save button when changes have been made. Then press Deploy. The form is now ready for use and is available on the portal. Select the Undeployed button and further modifications on the form can be made. Or, if the form is no longer needed, select Deactivate in the context bar. Each form contains a status option, which characterizes the state of the form. The status of a form will be displayed on the portal dashboard for an incident management user. By default, all templates have one status of open. Additional statuses can be added to the form template so that the status of a form can be defined in workflow rules at the form template level. To do so, first add the new values to the item stages list in list management. To add a value to the status dropdown within a form template, first select a sort order. Then use the pick list icon to view available statuses, or place the cursor in the Select Status field. A new window will display with available statuses. Place a check mark next to the appropriate values to add to the form and press the Add Selected and Close button. Statuses can be moved around in the list by placing a check mark next to the appropriate value and using the up and down arrows to move the status order. Press Save to apply the changes. To remove a value, select the X next to the appropriate value. Note that a lock will be placed on all statuses once items have been populated from the form template. ComplyTrack provides a mechanism for creating custom workflow rules. On each form template, a Workflows tab is available, from which an event can automatically trigger the running of a rule so that an action occurs when specific conditions are met. To view a workflow rule, select the arrows. Then pick Edit. This first dropdown contains a list of triggers to define conditions or actions. For this example, the Submit Form event is used as it is the first required workflow in incident management. For each form template, an architect will decide which type of item should be created when an incident is reported. Due to the number of item templates available in the system, an item template has to be specified. This is a required workflow rule an architect must set up for each form template. Then an architect would provide a name and description for the event to explain how the trigger should be utilized. This event triggers the creation of an item when the report is submitted to Issue and Action Management. When selecting a trigger, an Add Group of Conditions button appears, from which conditions can be applied, and then the actions are defined in the Do These Actions section. In this scenario, Create Item for Form is the appropriate action. When this value is selected, an additional drop-down appears. An architect would select the appropriate item template. Specify the desired owner or assigned to for the item. Then press the OK button to save the workflow rule. The Add Action button would be utilized when further actions need to be created. Select the Add Group button to define optional conditions that must be set in order for actions to be applied. To add a new rule, select the Add New Rule button. To create this rule, Submit Form would be selected as the trigger. The action is to change the lifecycle value to submitted. Give the rule a name and provide a description. Press the OK button to apply the rule. Press the Save button to save any changes to the workflow rules. A workflow rule can also be deleted by selecting the arrows. This concludes the overview for managing form templates. Thank you for your time.